Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us and welcome to the debut episode of PWA on the PPV. And boy, what an amazing 3 hours of pay-per-view action did we just see, Mike?
What? Whoa. It was a 4-hour pay-per-view.
Yes, but only 3 hours of it could be qualify as amazing because that main event was doo-doo.
Okay, I'll give that to you. We'll get to the main event in a little bit.
Yes. So, what do we want to start with? We want to start with Takeover?
You know what? Let's start with this one because it was more fresh in our minds because it just happened. And then we'll finish off with Takeover. Because I'll be honest, I think Takeover was a better pay-per-view.
Oh, without question. That's why I think we should start with it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was yesterday. Let's start with that, and we'll finish with Survivor Series. Now, real quick, in the future, we may consider going live on this. This is something I've been thinking about, maybe going live on YouTube, and then just uploading it as usual for the other mediums. But we will figure that out. Probably not with Clash of Champions, since I'll be just finishing up my Disney World trip, but Royal Rumble. So, NXT TakeOver Wargames. Pretty good show.
Incredible.
Yeah. Pretty good show.
Okay. Right off the bat, I'll give you a grade for the pay-per-view. Yeah. I definitely give it an A.
It's an A+, 100 full marks.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
There was not a single bad match on the card.
No. When the worst match on the card is a toss-up between the Lars Sullivan Cassius Ohno match, which was great, or the women's Fatal 4-Way, which was great. That's a pretty good
damn
show.
good pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Lars Sullivan Cassius Ohno match. I mean, for a match that was only 5 minutes and 11 seconds, it was a good match.
They got a lot in. Now, if you remember when we did our predictions, I said that this was probably going to be Lars Sullivan's first real test, which it was. I said that Cassius Ohno had a job to get Lars Sullivan over while not making himself look any less of a threat. Do you think he did that? Because I sure do.
Oh, no. I totally agree. I think Cassius Ohno did everything he needed to do to look solid, but still put Lars Sullivan over in a convincing fashion.
Yes.
And not look like it was a squash.
Right. And while still being a squash. Yes, because, it was. It was just a pay-per-view squash. It was a 5-minute match on a, 2.5, 3 hour show? So, Lars Sullivan has looked great, and they're continuing to present him in the right fashion. He's, now if you noticed, typically he attacks people after the match. He walked away from Cassius Ohno. And that says something. That shows a little bit of respect, which seems to be a common theme over the last couple of days, and we'll talk about that as we go further. But I was very impressed with the work that both guys did. Lars Sullivan has not. He's faced the right people to make him look like a world beater and hide any weaknesses that he might have. Now, this guy could be, the next big thing and be amazing in the ring. He hasn't shown any weaknesses yet, so it can be attributed to him, it can be attributed to his competition.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, you could definitely picture a guy like Lars Sullivan becoming the Braun Strowman of NXT, just tearing through the roster.
Like Baron Corbin was.
Yes, but it's still early.
Right.
So, anything could happen. Luckily, he's still in NXT.
Yes.
Whose writing staff has a little bit of sanity, no pun intended, when it comes to their storylines versus the main roster.
Right.
So,
speaking of the sanity of the writing staff, again, no pun intended, Aleister Black versus the Velveteen Dream.
Okay, now, of course, taking the War Games match out of the equation, this was my match of the night.
This was my match of the night with War Games in the equation. I thought War Games was kind of underwhelming. It was a good match, but it was kind of underwhelming, considering who was involved.
Oh, no. I can see where you're going. I still...
It was War Games. I got you.
It's War Games. First time in 20 years. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I kind of like the changes that were made, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But when it came down to every other match on the card, this hands down was
it.
Yeah.
It had solid in-ring action, good in-ring psychology, and good psychology.
Very good psychology.
The storyline going into the match was, like I said on Wednesday, the Velveteen Dream is gold dust. Now, they were talking about how the Velveteen Dream has only been in the business for 3 years. He was on the last season of Tough Enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so an Aleister Black was Tommy End, and is a very well-known indie guy. He showed up at and faced Neville at the UK tournament.
Mm-hmm.
He's
a veteran
match. Yeah, he's been around for a minute. They said, 14 years?
Something like that, yeah.
So, the match was fantastic. But I think that the highlight of the match has to be the entire basis of the gimmick was the Velveteen Dream trying to get acknowledgement.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the match, enjoy infamy, Velveteen Dream. And that was with the crowd chanting, say his name, and it was so good.
There was not
perfect.
It was.
Dare I say.
It is one of those that you can definitely say 5-star, if not even 6-star match for NXT.
No, I don't know if I can agree with that. 4-star, definitely.
Are you? See, I think I really liked it. It was.
I'm not disagreeing with that. If you're talking on like a personal enjoyment scale, then yes, 5
But here,
stars.
you literally just said the match was perfect.
No, I said the psychology was perfect.
Oh, the psychology. Like I said, there wasn't a botch in that match that I could see.
No. But matches go by without botches all the time. That doesn't mean that it is.
No. I know what you're saying.
6-star, 42.5-star match.
But for a match that went almost 15 minutes, it was incredible.
It was. It was done very well. And the storyline aspect of the match, the sports entertainment part of the match was perfect. The match itself had me in, but I didn't have any of those jump out of my seat, heart-pounding moments that you get from a Okada, Omega, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, or AJ Styles, Brock Lesnar for that matter. But again, we'll get to that. So, yes, this was my match of the night, but a 5-star match it was not, in my opinion. Now, my personal enjoyment of it, yes, 5 stars. But from an objective standpoint, I can't go full boat with it. Yeah, sorry. Now we had next the Fatal 4-Way for the vacant NXT Women's Championship. We both picked Ember Moon to win.
Definitely the right move.
Yeah, agreed. And I liked the way, obviously, Asuka getting into the ring and giving her the belt was planned, but the fact that she had to ask Regal to do it really added a lot to the moment, I think.
Oh, no, totally. I mean, it was that very polite, like, please, let me, you know?
Well, and just the fact that they made it look like it was a spur-of-the-moment thing.
Oh, of course.
And that's paramount to the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, there was one thing that I really wanted to see in that match that we didn't get to see. I really wanted to see Kairi Sane do her elbow drop
What?
From the opposing ring.
Oh. I was like,
I would have
loved... That elbow drop was amazing.
No. I'm not saying it wasn't. Are you kidding me? She gives the best elbow drop, period, ever, I think. But what I'm saying is...
she probably weighs like $110.
That is true. Soaking wet.
Yeah, she jumps, holding the ship's and goes up.
Yeah, maybe holding the ship's wheel.
Yeah.
We'll give her the 110. But no, what I'm saying is I would have loved to have seen her go from the turnbuckle of the opposite ring over both sets of ropes.
I see what you're saying. Now, I mean, yeah, that would have been cool, but
that's the only thing I wanted to see. I mean, other than that, it was a good match. I didn't have any problems with it.
Let me ask you a question though.
Yes.
From a kayfabe perspective, what does that add to the move? It makes no sense to do it from a kayfabe perspective.
Well, from that standpoint, yes. From an oh shit standpoint,
right?
And you got the second ring. I know not necessarily that just because you have the second ring to work with doesn't mean you need to use the second ring. I get it. I just think it would be one of those things that would be absolutely amazing to see.
It would be very cool to see, but if you look at a lot of the holy shit moments that WWE has done, with the exception of staging tables and things like that, they tend to play off of something that will actually add to the move, coming off of the ladder, the Tower of Doom spots, things like that. But coming off of the turnbuckle from the other ring, yeah, it looks really cool. But beyond that, it doesn't add anything to the move. And so I don't see maybe we're taking too much time on this, and I'm harping on this too much. But I just don't see the benefit other than it's going to get a move that is already over maybe.
It's a 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Okay. We'll agree to disagree on this one.
Yeah, I mean, but still, very, very good match. I was very happy with the results. I
thought Peyton Royce pulled her weight very nicely. Nikki Cross is great. Mm-hmm. I love Nikki Cross. I wouldn't have been disappointed if she had won. I wouldn't have been disappointed if any of these women had won.
I agree.
No, I wanted Ember Moon to win. She deserved it.
Yes, it was quote unquote her time.
Yeah.
With it quote unquote being their time. Next match, Andrade Cien Almas versus Drew McIntyre.
This was a good match.
It was a good
match. The ending was kind of weird because it looked like McIntyre got hurt on the finish and then Almas won, which I don't think anyone saw coming. Which, if it was an audible, fine. It looks like McIntyre could be out up to 9 months with a torn rotator cuff. So it was the right call.
So is it confirmed it is the rotator cuff?
He's supposed to go in to get checked everything on the 19th. So
okay,
tomorrow.
See, because I was hearing people were speculating that it was a torn bicep, but
I'd heard shoulder, and that makes sense considering. I mean, granted, yeah, okay, it's fake, got it. They were working that shoulder, so moves that were focused on that shoulder. Now, I'd heard that the injury may have happened earlier in the match than the finish, but the finish was awkward. There's all sorts of weird stuff. I think that Almas winning was the pre-planned finish, and it makes sense with the storyline. Before he had Zelina Vega, he was on a losing streak. Now she's taken him all the way to the top. So it makes sense from a storyline perspective. I never thought Almas was going to be the NXT champion. No disrespect to him. He's a great talent. I just didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, like we had said on Wednesday last week, I could see it. I mean, I still picked Drew McIntyre to win the match. But,
we both did.
Yeah,
it's the only one we missed.
But I did say I could picture Cien Almas being a champion. Now, albeit I don't see him being a long reigning champion. I don't see him holding on to the title for a long time. And that is what I did say last week. So with that being said, don't know who's going to be next to take the title.
I've heard Adam Cole.
That's who I was just going to say.
I've heard Aleister Black. So
he's definitely going to be a transitional champion.
That remains to be seen. So far, only one person has had a short-term reign with the belt, and that's Sami Zayn. If you can believe that.
When it comes to Sami Zayn getting overlooked, I don't, really.
Well, in NXT, though?
Still, I don't know.
He didn't get overlooked. He finally beat Neville in a huge moment, and then he got absolutely murked by Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
So he didn't get overlooked. He put his best friend over.
That's true. Which that was a hell of a moment, though, by the way.
Yes. When they, both with Zayn winning the belt and then Owens
KO.
Him, as well as KO TKOing him.
Yep. So, but once again, solid match, good match. Hopefully everything's okay with Drew McIntyre and it's not a long-term,
hopefully,
injury. But, if it is, hope he recovers fast. Last match, Undisputed Era defeated the Authors of Pain with Roderick Strong and Sanity.
Okay, so let me, if you don't mind, let me just kind of cut in with my thoughts on the match. First of all, I loved that they sold the fact that the Authors of Pain had an advantage going into it because of the fact that Paul Ellering was in the first War Games match. So they had the only experience on their side, and that Roderick Strong had a history with Red Dragon and Adam Cole, or, the Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
So that was great. I loved that. I loved that Roderick Strong came out in the same gear as the Authors of Pain because it showed that people were wondering how they were going to function as a unit, and it showed that at least going into the match they were on the same page. So I liked that. I didn't like that there was no roof on the cage until the match got going. And I saw how they with the guys you had in it, you had high-flying guys. The roof on the cage wouldn't have worked. It would have limited a lot of the moves that these guys could do. So that was forgivable. I didn't like a lot of the in-ring psychology, in that I thought that Strong and Young should have teamed up on Cole a little more before they started fighting amongst themselves, because that was the common antagonist between the two of them. Strong really had no beef with Sanity. He was just kind of the odd man out, but he definitely had beef with the Undisputed Era, as did Sanity. So I would have liked to see them team up a little bit more, and then whether through miscommunication or just getting tired of beating on Adam Cole, they turned on each other. The letting the remaining members of the team out of the cage, I didn't like that. It created too much of an advantage, because you wind up with a 3-on-2, or potentially a 4-on-1, based off of who got released. Because if it was the Authors of Pain, or if it was Sanity, then odds are they're probably all going to gang up on Adam Cole before turning on Roderick Strong or Eric Young. So I didn't care for that. The stuff that happened in the ring was very, very spot heavy. There wasn't a whole lot of psychology tying the match together. So it was cool to watch, but there was nothing coherent keeping me in it. It's kind of how I feel about Justice League. A bunch of really cool moments, but not tied together by anything coherent. At the end, the right team won. It's because it's the team I picked. And it's the team they're trying to put over. AOP, Sanity, they're already over. Sanity's the tag champs. The Undisputed Era... Huh?
Are they still the tag champs?
Yeah, they didn't lose.
That's right.
And the right team won because the Undisputed Era had to win matches of significance in order to be continued to taken seriously. So, those are my thoughts on the War Games match. I'm going to go ahead and shut up and let you give your thoughts on the War Games match.
Okay. It was everything that I expected, pretty much everything that I could hope for. As for there not being a roof on the cage, at first I didn't think it was a good idea. This was going into the match. As soon as they announced the stipulation, though, that if anybody climbed out of the cage, their entire team would be disqualified, I had no problem with that. I started seeing it as maybe we had scenarios where you were going to have guys possibly trying to throw someone over the top to get the other person eliminated, the other team eliminated. So, of course, that spot that we had towards the end of the match with the suplex off the top of the cage was absolutely incredible.
Oh, man, that with the crowd chanting, "Please don't die."
Please don't die. I mean, Taylor was sitting next to me watching that this morning, and I mean, her reaction was about the same as mine, which was the, oh my God, what the, I mean, just an amazing spot.
I hope she didn't react that way, though, or she'd be in trouble.
As long as she uses it in the proper context and doesn't follow it with offer you, I'm good.
Okay.
It's okay. So,
all right. This is the father of a 9-year-old girl, everyone.
Well, remember, this is a 9-year-old girl who plays hockey, though, so she's a little...
Yeah, all right. Rough around the edges.
Just a tad. But, be that as it may, I do agree with you on the fact of the shark cage with letting the whole team out when it came time. I wouldn't have minded if they would have done it in a more traditional War game style where each guy gets to come in at a certain time and it would be random, at least between, the 3 shark cages. In the past, they've done like a coin toss. Yes.
And the winning team, granted, they couldn't do the coin toss, but they do it random the first round. And then after that, they let one guy in the same order. Yes.
One other thing I did like the fact that they put that grate in between the 2 rings. That was something that if you go back and you look at earlier War Games, wasn't there. Which could have created a lot of problems and a lot of injuries because you did have that little bit of a gap in between the 2 rings in previous War Games. So I like the fact they put the grate there because it allowed for some pretty good spots in between the rings. The other thing that I really
quick, I'm sorry, I know I said I'd be quiet and let you talk. What did you think of the divider between the rings? The partition.
What do you mean?
The piece of metal.
The grate. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying I liked.
You did say you liked that.
Yes, because it prevented that gap from being there like in previous War Games where you always had to worry about a guy possibly turning an ankle, breaking a leg. And I like the fact that it allowed them...
falling into it and staying there the entire match while getting beat up by Scott Hall.
Yes. So I liked it because, like I said, it gave them more area to use, and there were some really good spots in between the 2 rings, that you didn't have to worry about someone getting extremely injured in. I mean, you still had to worry about it because it was metal, but,
it was that diamond-plated steel.
Diamond plate, yep. So, no, I like it.
I may not have been paying attention again. I really got to stop that, huh?
Yeah, it's okay.
Your voice kind of puts me to sleep.
Yeah, well, and then
It's how I wind up picking both teams in the tag team match, and so no matter what, I become a winner. Yeah,
I was just going to say that. And then the last thing, I love the fact that the last two guys for Sanity, when Wolf and Dane came in, that they brought in the tables.
Oh yeah, they just went out there and just decided, okay, well, everything's going to go get berserker now.
Mm-hmm. As far as, what you were talking about earlier about the psychology and the in-ring action, to me, it didn't really matter. It was War Games. It's supposed to be about big spots. It's supposed to be about carnage.
Okay, but a couple of weeks ago, we reviewed Fall Brawl 97 with a War Games match that was completely built on psychology.
That is
and several War Games matches have been completely built on psychology, with the over the top violence also existing.
No, I get that, but I think because of the fact that it was the 3 teams versus instead of normally being 2 teams, these guys just wanted to kick the crap out of each other, and it was the perfect place for them to do that. One of my favorite spots, I'm trying to remember who the hell it was. I think it was from, was it Bobby Fish? It was either Bobby Fish or Kyle O'Reilly going for the chair shot, completely missing it, hitting the top rope. Yeah,
the one with the mustache. It's Bobby Fish.
Okay, Bobby Fish. Yeah, missing the chair shot, hitting the top rope, and then hitting himself in the head.
I've only ever seen that one other time. It was when The Rock did it, and it was terrible then, and it was terrible now.
No, come on, that was pretty funny.
Oh, no. Funny does not mean it's a good spot. It's awful. Remember, we talk about the suspension of disbelief, and you already have to suspend. There's a lot of things that you have to suspend disbelief on just watching wrestling, like a guy getting whipped into the ropes when he can barely stand but he can still run.
Mm-hmm.
That ruins things for me, and so I may laugh, but that doesn't mean I liked it.
I thought the match was fine. I definitely agree that the Undisputed Era needed to win this match.
Oh yeah.
So all in all, I was very happy. I mean, it was a long match. I mean, coming in at 36 minutes and 37 seconds. It wasn't one of those matches where I was sitting there going, God, this is taking forever. It was constantly moving. It was constantly going. With the exception of course, them taking out everybody with that suplex off the top of the cage.
That was and I was wondering how they were going to do that without killing somebody, and having the rest of the field there to catch them was perfect.
Oh yeah. So all in all, to me, it was a great match. I loved it. I thought, once again, you and I texted, this morning. Great pay-per-view, not a bad match on the card.
No.
And I truly
not
think,
even an
once
average
again,
match on the card.
No, not even. And once again, I really think that NXT put on a better pay-per-view than the WWE.
Right. Okay, let's...
And it's starting to become a trend.
It's definitely, ever since TakeOver on pay-per-view weekends started with TakeOver Brooklyn, NXT has outshone WWE every single time. So you're not wrong here. It is a complete trend. The thing is that when less external eyes are on a product, there are less internal eyes on a product. There's a reason why Ring of Honor shows are so good, because there's less people telling everybody what to do, because they have less people to please. NXT is a WWE Network exclusive property. So they still fall under the WWE umbrella for sure, but because the only people that see it really are the WWE Network subscribers, less eyes are on it. And that includes, and so because less external eyes are on it, less internal eyes are on it. So that means that you don't have all of the people from Mattel watching. And you don't have all of the, you don't have 57 freaking agents. I don't think Kevin Dunn produces NXT.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. So these guys get a lot more freedom and autonomy, and they're also learning to be WWE superstars. So you let them go a little bit so they can go out there and they can fine-tune their craft.
Yeah, the other thing is you can also tell that with the way, especially with the smaller crowds, it's a very I'm trying to think of the right. It's a smarky crowd, because a lot of, at least the shows in Florida,
right?
Because it's I compare, not the sheer craziness of it, but I compare NXT to ECW in the fact that when they were at the ECW arena in Philadelphia, it was the diehard there every week.
Who are you talking about? Was that the ECW arena? ECW or Ring of Honor? Or?
No, ECW. Okay. When I said ECW, when they were at
the ECW arena. Okay.
In Philly.
I thought that's what you said, but
yeah, it was the same crowd. Same people were there every show. They were diehards. Same thing can be said for NXT when they're filming at Full Sail. You start looking around the crowd, and if you watch every Wednesday, you see some of the same people there. It's a show that seems like it's tailored a little bit more to the IWC than a WWE show.
Well, again, that's because that's who's subscribing to your WWE network.
And that's why, a lot of us who really do love and enjoy wrestling, we tend to like NXT a lot more than the main roster because it's not placating to the corporate board. It's not placating to even though, excuse me, hold on one second. Even though, it is the same company, Mattel did sponsor the pay-per-view for War Games. And they are PG. It's not over the top PG, like WWE has become. Mm-hmm. So, all in all, good pay-per-view. I can't wait for the next NXT Takeover, which I believe is going to be NXT Takeover Philadelphia.
Yeah. At the Royal Rumble.
Which, once again, will probably be an amazing show. I think this will be a chance where the WWE might actually be able to put on a better show than NXT, just because of the rumors that we'll have the Women's Rumble, Braun Strowman eliminating 29 others, God willing.
Oh, that would be amazing.
It would be incredible. Could you imagine the Royal Rumble being a squash match?
Yeah.
He's the only guy I think that could do it.
Yeah. I would be so happy.
We'll talk about him in a minute. But I loved it. I thought it was great. But yeah, you and I agree. Aleister Black, Velveteen Dream, definitely best match.
Absolutely. So let's move on to tonight's show, the Survivor Series, the 3 hours of amazing show and 1 hour of doo-doo. Now, we're definitely being a little bit unfair to that main event. It wasn't all bad, but we'll get there. The first match was the New Day versus the Shield. This match was really, really good. Mm-hmm. They hit all the right spots in all the right places. The right team won. Some people wanted New Day to win, like
wasn't going to happen,
but it was not going to happen. Not now. If the Shield had appeared as scheduled at TLC, it may have happened.
Yes, because they had already then made their first appearance together, right, and they got their win. But,
and granted, this was their second match back as a team.
But first pay-per-view.
They were not going to lose.
No.
And I don't recall going back, I don't recall the Shield losing any 6-man tag team matches, like, ever.
I think you're right on that one.
So
I can't recall.
No, I can't either. I mean, they beat freaking Evolution.
Yeah.
A couple times. So, yeah, I don't recall them losing any 6-mans. So This is not uncharacteristic for them. It fits, and they won, and they should have. But man, the New Day and the Usos both. It's like they are at a point right now where they cannot miss. Can we agree on that?
No, definitely. I mean, everything that they're doing, their psychology, their in-ring work, it is very solid. I mean, there were parts, even though you and I both agreed that the Shield was going to win this match, there were parts of this match where you're sitting there starting to second guess yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, going, well, maybe the New Day will pull this one off.
Hey, hold on just a second. Go ahead and say your thought, but I will be right back.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, that's fine. I'll wait for you.
Sorry about that. I had to turn the heater off in my room because it was making a lot of noise. So,
but yeah, no, I mean, solid match. Second,
we didn't have a lot of dead air there, did we?
About 10 seconds.
Oh, well. Maybe I'll cut it out. Maybe I won't. We'll see. I'm kind of a rebel like that.
Second longest match of the night, coming in at 21 minutes and 20 seconds.
Again, though, that does not. The time does not make the match good.
No, it doesn't, because we've seen matches that go 33 minutes and 20 seconds, like the final one, and we'll talk about that later.
Or 38 minutes, like the Shane McMahon, Kevin Owens Hell in a Cell.
Yes, that was also horrible.
Well, it wasn't horrible. It was just uncomfortable.
Long, but it felt,
it felt every minute that it was. So,
second match of the evening, we had Team Raw versus Team SmackDown Women match. You pretty much called that one, nailed on the head.
Oh, yeah, and if you had remembered that Asuka was in the match, you probably would have as well.
I probably would have. I did forget that she was in it. But
I was listening to it earlier, and you were like, oh, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, as soon as she said,
you're like,
yeah, Asuka, I'm going, there was part of me, though, that started thinking about I'm trying to remember, how did he get his first loss? Wasn't it in something similar to this?
No, not at all.
What was it?
It was on an episode of Superstars. He was facing Ludwig Borga. He was part of the Survivor Series team in '93, and he got beat down by Yokozuna outside the ring. Ludwig Borga pinned him with one finger, and then he got bonsai splashed like 15 times and got taken out of the match.
Okay.
That was how he got his first loss. Ludwig Borga pinned him with one finger.
Okay. But it was that Survivor Series, correct? No?
It was on Superstars leading up to Survivor Series. Undertaker took Tatanka's spot on the team, which built to the casket match at Royal Rumble 94.
Okay.
So no, nothing like this.
Yeah, nothing like that. Once again, you have the better wrestling mind than I do when it comes to memorizing this crap.
I don't memorize it. It just stays there.
So
I don't try to remember it. I just remember it.
Definitely liked the match.
It was pretty botchy.
It had its moments
with Tamina and Alicia Fox.
Oh yeah,
are terrible.
Yeah,
both of them. Like okay, Tamina, she should be better. Alicia Fox really should be better because she's been around forever. Mm-hmm. And they just keep her around because you know why? Because she really tries hard. I honestly think that's why they keep her around, is because she's got a great character, and I think she honestly wants to do better, and it tries to do better. But man, that spot where she got eliminated was just terrible.
Uh-huh.
But then it led to Sasha Banks making Tamina tap out, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely tell when Alicia got eliminated that was a definite botch right there, because
I think she was supposed to be eliminated, but
part of me almost had the feeling that this was kind of like her little swan song.
You think?
I do. I really do. She's been with the company for close to 10 years?
At least about 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, about 10 years. She's won, back at the day with the Divas title. She was the Divas champion. But if you start looking at, who's currently in there, I mean, just look at the rest of that team.
Yeah.
I mean, Asuka, Bayley, Nia, Sasha.
I mean, she's the from those four, Nia Jax is far below the skill level of the other three.
Yes.
And Alicia is far below Nia Jax.
Well, exactly. And then you start looking at, Team SmackDown. Same thing. You got Becky, Carmella, Naomi, Natty, and Tamina. And Alicia is below all of them, just a little bit above Lana.
Yeah, well, I think she's substantially better than Lana. And I would put
I think
her
Mr.
down
Sacco is better than Lana.
I would put her down at the bottom, but just below Tamina, who is just below Carmella.
Yeah. So I really think this was kind of, her swan song. They gave her, one little last
hurrah,
hurrah, but I think she's pretty much going to be done.
Yeah. And she's probably going out on her own terms.
Probably. I mean, if we see her one more time, I think we will probably see her in the Women's Royal Rumble, because they're gonna need fillers for that match.
If they do 2 Royal Rumbles, like 2 30-man, 30-woman Royal Rumbles, that's going to be all that the show is. The Women's Royal Rumble will probably be, if it happens, it will probably be half the size of the Men's Rumble.
I don't know, because there's going to be, I truly think, especially for the first one, it'll be a 30 women, because when you start looking at the cards, plus who they have in NXT, and they are going to want to bring back some veteran names.
Okay, but see, you look at the regular Royal Rumble, how many names do they usually bring up from NXT? 1, maybe 2?
1, 2.
Yeah, so there's 1 or 2 people.
And this was the first, this year's was the first year in a while where we didn't have any real surprise, entrance like previous years. But
I'm okay with that, though.
Well, I am too, but I'm telling you,
there's so many guys on the roster that bringing in a surprise entrant is kind of a slap in the face to the guys that are working there every night.
And I agree with you. But when it comes down to a women's Royal Rumble, especially being the first one, we're probably going to see Lita. We're probably going to see Trish. We're going to see some of the women that, from the quote unquote golden era,
maybe, but maybe not. I mean, we're also talking a year where, the highest the women got in in the Attitude Era, post Attitude Era,
main eventing Raw. Yeah.
They not only have they main evented pay-per-views now, but they've main evented pay-per-views in Hell in a Cell matches. They've had ladder matches, steel cage matches, last woman standing matches, falls count anywhere matches. They are Iron Man matches. They are putting the women on par with the men. And the so-called trailblazers, if you will, never achieved that level. So while I can see them coming back and trying to get in it, I can also I think that there might be like 1 or 2 of those, and like you say, a Lita, a Trish.
It'll probably be
if it's. I'm thinking there's only going to be 15 women in it.
If we see any of the post-Attitude Era, I think the 3 that we will see will probably be Lita, Trish, and Victoria.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Molly, maybe Jazz. There's a lot of them in there. How do you decide?
No, it's true. So, but I mean, getting back to this one, was an okay match.
It was just okay.
Yeah, nothing to write home about.
Well, I mean, I wrote home about it. I did. I was texting my daughter about the whole show because she's babysitting and wasn't watching it.
There you go.
So I definitely wrote home about it.
Well, you wrote home about it.
I sure did.
You know, Taylor pokes her head out. Taylor pokes her head out. She goes, "Did I miss anything?" I'm like, "Not really." I'll let you know when some of the better ones come on, when AJ and Brock start. But match after that, we had United States Champion Baron Corbin versus The Miz.
So I picked The Miz for this one, and I said that was the wrong decision. I said Corbin should win this match, but I did not think he was going to. I said The Miz could afford to lose because most of his success comes on the microphone.
Yes.
You picked Corbin to win. You thought Corbin was going to somehow pull it out. Well, he did not somehow pull it out. He handled it.
Yeah, he did.
He not only did he handle The Miz, he handled the Miztourage.
Mm-hmm. In a very convincing fashion.
Yes, and that was just what he needed. Not bad for somebody who's on bad terms, who's got heat in the locker room and is getting buried.
Yeah, no, not bad at all. That was actually the shortest match of the night.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
9 minutes and 35 seconds.
It didn't need to be long.
No, it didn't. I'll be honest. The match was short, simple, to the point, and it did what it needed to do.
Yep.
That's pretty much all I can say about that one.
Yep.
Anything you want to say on it, or we good?
Oh, no, I already said what I wanted to say.
All right. So, match after that. So we had...
It was the Tag Champs versus Tag Champs.
Yeah.
I called
once
this one.
Again, you did. After you called...
Hey, that first one doesn't count. It doesn't. No, the first one doesn't count.
I think the bar's going to win. Yeah, so do I.
I was asleep.
Okay, sure.
I was.
So, you know what?
Text messages on my phone like I'm doing right now.
True. It was a good match.
No. It was a really good match. That spot where Cesaro had one of them on his shoulders and he ended up Samoan dropping Sheamus off of Cesaro's shoulders was freaking incredible. Like I can barely explain the move.
Yeah, it was a very impressive move to watch, but yeah, trying to explain exactly what he did is not easy.
No.
We said this match had the potential to be possibly the match of the evening.
Absolutely.
And up until that point, it was.
Oh yeah.
It definitely was. Very, the outcome really didn't matter to me too much, No.
Okay, so a lot of the outcomes of these matches were very dependent on their placement on the card.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if they decided who was going to win and then determined where to put the matches. Because once Raw was up 2-0, SmackDown had to win.
Yes.
In order to
have a shot at staying in.
So, I don't remember who I picked overall for the Survivor Series match, the men's Survivor Series match.
I don't either off the top of my head.
I know I made a case for both teams winning, but I'm pretty sure I said that Braun was going to win. But what I had said was that while we were watching the show, I said if the Usos win, Alexa Bliss is going to win, because I was operating on the assumption that Brock AJ was going on last.
Yeah.
Which it should have, but
in hindsight.
Yeah. But I understand why it didn't, based off of how the show ended, and we'll talk about that. But I was operating under the assumption that Brock AJ was going on last. I said if the Usos win, Alexa will win. Because
then the men's SmackDown team will win,
because Brock was going to win. Brock was winning. I don't think that result was ever in question. But I said that should Charlotte win, then the Raw men's team will win because Brock is winning.
Yes.
And that is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So I kind of hedged my bets based off of Brock being the winner. But there was a lot of, like I say, match placement played a lot into it.
Well, and the problem that I have when it comes to stuff like this, especially when they're keeping track of the Raw, SmackDown wins and losses, it does become very formulaic.
Right, because it's not like the show's going to end if Raw wins 4 matches.
Exactly.
So SmackDown doesn't have a chance. Why are we even competing at this point?
Exactly. So, that's the problem. I mean, you knew it was going to go, 50-50 going into the final.
I would have been totally cool with Raw going 3 up, though. And SmackDown having to play catch up the rest of the time. I think that would have been better.
I agree, I
did, however, like the way that they did it with Raw taking an early lead and then SmackDown coming back and winning 3 in a row.
Yeah.
I did like that. And SmackDown won all of the champion versus champion matches except for the big one.
That is true.
Which shows that Raw functions as a more cohesive team than SmackDown. Mm-hmm. But SmackDown has the more dominant champions with the exception of Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar.
And Brock Lesnar does what Brock Lesnar wants.
That is completely backwards, in my opinion, from what I've seen. I think that based off of the way that the booking was, that Raw should have won all of the title versus champion matches, and SmackDown should have won the team matches.
Yeah.
But, I picked 2 SmackDown champions to win. Mm-hmm. So what do I know?
Match after that, Charlotte versus Alexa.
You loved this match. I thought it was very meh.
I liked it based off of the sheer fact there weren't a lot of high spots. Mm-hmm. I liked the fact that they really worked on selling the injuries.
Yes.
I liked the fact that there was a brief period during that match where you're watching Alexa and I'm sitting there going, I know Charlotte is Ric Flair's daughter, but I'm sitting here going, Alexa's doing a really good Ric Flair right now, crawling back into the corner going, oh no, please, don't, the psychology for me on this match was very good.
Yes, it was.
I don't necessarily think the match itself was,
except for that figure 8, man. I've never seen her sink it in, do the bridge that deep. Yeah. She was up on her freaking tiptoes. She almost could have grabbed her damn ankles. Because
with Alexa being that short, she has the room to go for the height.
Right. But it was just great.
It was. But for me, it was the psychology. I mean, where a lot of people would sit there and watch that, 2.5 minute portion where Alexa has Charlotte, in that, not a full Nelson, but has the arms stretched above and is digging that elbow in.
Like an octopus stretch type thing?
Yeah, exactly. Is digging that elbow in, and then, she stops, and while the ref's not looking, she's clawing with the fingers, and then she goes back to the elbow.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really working, that injury. Only other person...
being a bad guy.
Yes.
It's so important that bad guys behave like bad guys. Otherwise, what reason do you have to dislike them?
No, exactly. I love watching, a bad guy take a powder and go under the ropes. I love it. I love watching a bad guy go into the corner, acting like a sniveling little coward, and then,
take a cheap shot. Going for a pin in the corner just so they can put their feet up on the ropes.
Exactly. So the wrestling wasn't that great. And you know what? I can't understand it when it comes to certain things because, let's be honest, height does have a lot to do with that. Charlotte is having to...
As does upper body strength.
Yes. Charlotte does have to do a lot of accommodating for some of her moves when, Charlotte's 5'9"?
I don't know. I mean, she's a full head taller than Alexa, though.
Yeah, let me see here.
They could almost stand like chest to chest, and Charlotte could rest her face on Alexa's head, like I do to Sherry.
Okay, Charlotte is 5'10".
And Alexa's like 5 foot even.
Well, supposedly she's 4'11", but they bill her at 5'1". But still, that's almost 10 full inches.
And she's still 6 inches taller than Rey Mysterio Jr.
That is true.
No, she's not.
Mighty
terrible thing to say.
It's okay. Hey. But
did you know that in 1997 that Rey Mysterio pulled double duty and worked at the WWE as Max Mini?
Oh, no, I did not.
No. Nobody else did either.
Oh,
because I just made it up.
Okay. But that does play, a lot into it. There are certain moves that you can do with someone who's a lot taller that you can still do it with someone shorter, but you got to put a little bit more work into it. So,
you are correct.
Wrestling wise, it wasn't the greatest match. Psychology wise, I loved it.
Okay.
It
so
was
you're
everything.
kind of where I am with the Velveteen Dream match, except for the fact that the wrestling was fantastic too.
Yes.
The psychology made the match a lot better than it actually was.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And then we go on to what I think you and I will hands down easily agree is our match of the evening.
If anybody says that this isn't the match of the night, they weren't paying attention.
If anybody says this wasn't the match of the night, they need to be kicked in the nuts.
You're probably right, but I'm not as aggressive as you are.
Well, that's,
Just because you're angry because they kick you out of buffets.
I'm an asshole. What do you expect? This was amazing.
It was.
At first, part of me is sitting here going, you gotta be shitting me. They are going to squash AJ.
Never saw it. Never saw it.
Well, when Cole even referenced, this is exactly what happened to John Cena at SummerSlam.
I loved it.
I loved it too.
Because he did it 2 seconds after I did it.
But, there was that small part of me. But then what you and I both said needed to happen, where AJ needed to get in some offense, good offense. Brock did an amazing job putting AJ over while still winning the match.
Well, yeah, and, look at the second half of the match. Brock had control very little of the time. It was all AJ. Now, this match, though, is very indicative of the importance of size, strength, and build in wrestling. And I brought this up. Brock hits one suplex, and the crowd explodes, and AJ's down for how long, and it's believable. But AJ has to hit move after move after move after move, and the crowd's popping, and they're going crazy. But if he hit one phenomenal forearm on Brock and Brock was down and stayed down, people wouldn't believe it.
Oh, no, definitely.
So the importance of size. See, and what do I always say? Since Great Balls of Fire, at SummerSlam, at No Mercy, what did I say? After Brock beat Samoa Joe with an F5, beat whoever he beat with an F5 at SummerSlam, and then beat Braun Strowman with an F5. What did I say? And Brock is still Brock.
Yes.
And I have to say...
The only thing that worries me... Go ahead. Sorry.
I have to say that I greatly appreciate the fact that they are allowing finishers to be finishers again.
Yes.
Because Brock has finished his last 4 opponents, at least... But off the top of my head, his last 4 opponents that he has beaten with one F5. I don't know if he hit multiple F5s on Goldberg or not. I've only seen the match like once. But at least 4 of his last 5 opponents he has beaten with, or 4 of his last 5 matches he has won with one F5. So that's huge. Then in the, you look at the Survivor Series match when John Cena got beaten. Who hit him with the first move? Was it? Because I know that Samoa or Finn Balor came in and hit the coup de grace. Oh, it was an angle slam, right? It was an angle slam and then a coup de grace and then another angle slam.
Yes.
But Cena didn't kick out of the first angle slam.
No.
He may have, but they didn't let him do it.
He was saved.
He was saved by Shane McMahon. When AJ won the title against Jinder Mahal, he did not kick out of the Colossus. He got his foot on the ropes. And that's very different.
Oh, definitely.
So, I mean, there is example after example. I mean, how many people has Braun pinned with one power slam? I mean, he pinned 2 tonight.
Yep.
So, I'm just very, very pleased with that. And then the fact that AJ, he hit the phenomenal forearm. Yeah, he hit the Pele kick. He hit the 450. Those are all great. Never hit the Styles Clash.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, though. Once again, suspension of disbelief. AJ Styles trying to give Brock Lesnar a style clash.
He's hit it on Joe. Joe weighs more than Lesnar does.
Does he?
Or as much.
Yeah, but isn't Lesnar's taller, though?
Not much.
Yeah, but it might be enough to where it might be difficult.
He's hit the Styles Clash on guys taller than him before. Yeah. So, I mean, he's now Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal's taller than him.
That's true. One thing that does worry me, though, about what you're saying, and I, too, am very happy that finishers are becoming finishers again. We're not watching matches where it's taking, 5 AAs and a super AA to end the match.
Yep.
What worries me is that if we do get the match that a lot of people think that we're going to get, which is Roman Reigns
versus Lesnar, that Reigns is going to kick out of an F5.
Yes. And they're gonna, and it's kind of telling because normally, Cena would be the guy who would kick out of multiple finishers, but he's not the guy anymore.
Well, let me ask you.
And that was in,
if you're going to have a guy kick out of a finisher, it's important that guy be in a position to do so. Reigns is in that position. Whether people want him to be or not, he is.
No, I know.
Number 2, he's kicked out of the F5 before.
So is Dean
Ambrose. For it. So there's precedent for it. And number 3 is that it's WrestleMania. People that have beaten The Undertaker on other occasions, i.e. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, etc., cannot beat him at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So, WrestleMania, people turn their game up. So that's when people kick out of finishers. People shouldn't be kicking out of finishers on freaking Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that.
And if you think that Brock's not going to kick out of a Superman punch and a spear, you're high.
No. He will. He will.
And as long as they keep it at WrestleMania, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I just think at WrestleMania I would prefer to see Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, given what happened tonight, and that is Roman Reigns being in the opening match and Braun Strowman standing tall at the end of the show.
Yeah,
they might be okay. I could totally see a Shield match. What is that noise?
I have no clue.
I just heard some weird song playing over my headphones. Interesting. Anyway, sorry about that. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but I sure could. Maybe that means I'm schizophrenic. I don't know.
I didn't hear it.
Okay, well, good. Because it was in my headphones, so I don't know how you would hear it unless it was playing off of your computer. So, I think that we'll see the Shield in a 3-way and Strowman Lesnar. And given the events that have taken place in the latter half of the year, that's the match that makes the most sense.
Yes.
I would have said that Strowman beating Lesnar for the title and then dropping it to Reigns at WrestleMania, and I have said it, was the smart match. That is not how things have shaken out. So, I think we're going to see Strowman and Lesnar at WrestleMania.
Which I will be very, very happy with.
Yep. But let's go ahead. AJ Lesnar was incredible.
Yes.
Should have been the match to end the show.
It totally should have.
Because the match that ended the show, I understand why. It's because of Strowman stuff at the end of the show.
Yes.
The match was a stinker.
Yes.
It started off really, really good.
Well, it started off with and you and I were talking about it earlier. It started off with a ton of potential.
Yeah.
I mean, that is an all-star lineup. Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, and Triple H against Shane, Orton, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke, and John Cena. Yeah. I mean, that literally right there.
If you were to take an 8-man tag team match on WWE 2K18 and just hit enter to pick guys, that would be like the type of match you would get. Or if you picked it on random. There was no sense to it other than they were representing their brands.
Now,
it was an amazing matchup.
Let's stress a couple of things going into this match. I like the fact that Kurt Angle came out first.
Yep, and Triple H came out last.
It didn't bother me that Triple H was wearing a non-Raw shirt.
He was wearing a red shirt.
He was wearing a red shirt, though.
But Cena,
and I was fine with that. Cena pissed me. That...
I guess it's because he's a free agent?
Whatever. I don't care. It's if Shinsuke Nakamura, who religiously wears red, had a special blue jacket made for this match because he was on Team SmackDown. I don't care if it's John Cena. I mean, I don't care if it's to sell merch. Come out in
the New Day, the Shield, the Usos, Sheamus and Cesaro, every other person on the freaking show wore a shirt that represented their brand. Every other person.
I mean, even now, I give the Shield credit. I love what the Shield did with the half Raw, half Shield shirt. Mm-hmm. That was cool, But yes, everybody. Even if they didn't
wear it in the match because Reigns didn't.
Yes, they came
to the
out
ring
wearing it. And the fact that John Cena is the last person to be introduced for this match, and he comes out in a bright fucking green shirt.
Hey, language.
Sorry.
We're PG, remember?
It just screamed BS.
It did. I mean, if you'll remember my response, what you said.
Yeah. I mean, and that was, I think, something that really threw things off for me. I mean, before we get into this match,
he doesn't have an array of blue shirts.
Well, even if you wanted to come out with a, Team SmackDown John Cena shirt just for this event and have it
shaded?
Yeah. Have it be a one-off. I'm cool with that. But before we get into this,
I take it back. Brock didn't wear a Raw shirt, did he?
No, but Brock. But you know what?
Brock was never representing Raw. But AJ wore a SmackDown shirt.
He did. But Brock also didn't wear any shirt. He came out without a shirt.
Yes.
So I mean that I'm okay with. Because let's also be honest. He is the Universal Champion for Raw, whose belt is red.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of screams, I'm a Raw guy.
Exactly.
But before we get into the main event, you and I did say one thing that we were truly worried about with this pay-per-view when it started was how they were going to do it with a 5-man booth. And I think they did a really good job. And the one thing, and it kind of plays to the what we're talking about with John Cena. I love the fact that even though it was a 5-man booth, it was 2 SmackDown guys, 2 Raw guys,
and
Corey Graves sitting right there in the middle. I mean, even when they showed them all, they had Michael Cole and Booker T in blue.
Yep, on red.
They had red for, in red, they had Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips in red, and they had Corey Graves, half red, half blue.
Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton were in blue.
Blue, yep.
You said red.
Sorry, blue. And then they had Corey Graves with a half blue, half red, sitting smack dab in the middle.
Yeah.
And he played it beautifully on both sides.
He never picked a side.
No,
he basically kind of acted as an arbiter.
Well, an arbiter, but he would also talk crap. Once again, something you can only see with us Tuesday nights on SmackDown, and then something you can only see with us Monday nights on Raw. I mean, he played both sides, never really picked and choose, who.
Well, that's not true. He was definitely a lot harsher he's always a lot harsher to Byron Saxton than he was to Booker T.
But yeah, that goes back to, I mean, I still love when during, the main event.
The foreign announcers, when he said, at least I don't have to work with Byron Saxton.
Well, there was that, but then also when you had Shinsuke and Finn in the ring together.
Oh, yes.
And, he starts talking about, it was either him or it was Tom Phillips, who was like, these two have a long history between each other, dating back to their time in Japan and New Japan Pro Wrestling and blah, 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 blah. And then Byron Saxton goes, well, this isn't Japan. And all of a sudden you hear, of course we're not in Japan, Byron. We're talking about Houston all night.
Yep.
Didn't you listen to what we were saying? I love when he goes off on Byron Saxton. Yeah.
He makes Byron Saxton look so stupid.
He does, and it's perfect.
And Booker T makes Booker T look so stupid. So all Corey has to do is just point it out. He doesn't even have to insult, Booker T. Booker T just says something, and then Corey Graves just starts laughing at him. Yep. But with that being said, it really did piss me off that John Cena came out in his own merch. Yep. If it would have been blue, kind of like when Triple H comes out in his own shirt, which was probably a one-off shirt.
Probably.
Because I've never seen that shirt in red. It looked like they took a red shirt and ironed on the that print.
Yeah. I was starting to sit there thinking that Triple H is looking very SS-like lately.
Ouch, dude.
Hey, I'm sorry. A lot of red, German, skulls, German writing.
Let it go.
Just saying. I liked it. It was a good look, but I'm just saying, kind of weird.
He definitely looks like a badass.
He does. Well, that beard really changes everything for him.
It changes everything.
It really does. I mean, I think he definitely needs to keep it. But the match had a lot of potential. It really did. But then,
as good old JR says, you can't buy groceries with potential.
Well, and then
this match ain't buying any groceries.
Well, and then the WWE writing staff took a crap on the WWE Universe and eliminated every single new guy.
Except Strowman.
Now,
like I said, I get what they were doing.
I do too.
They were really, really trying to get Strowman over big. But in doing so, they really made 4 other guys look very bad. There is no reason why the match should have come down to Braun Strowman, Triple H, and Kurt Angle on one side, and Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, and John Cena on the other side. There is no reason for that.
Nope.
Now, I'm not saying that it needed to come down to Nakamura and Rude against Balor and Joe. That's stupid too. But when you've got Triple H, who hasn't had a match since WrestleMania, and you've got Kurt Angle, who has had one match since, January? Against Cody Rhodes. Or, I guess he's had some house show matches, but...
Well, and Triple H has had some house show.
But, on TV, Triple H has not been on TV since WrestleMania.
And then Kurt Angle was the last pay-per-view.
Yeah, but before that, I don't think he'd wrestled since he wrestled Cody Rhodes in Britain.
No, that was the last time.
What are you talking?
Actually, no.
When he wrestled Cody Rhodes for Progress or Rev Pro.
He wrestled a match against El Patron.
Oh, did he? I thought the Cody Rhodes match was after that.
No, the El Patron match was after that because JR called that one. He was talking about it on his podcast. So,
anyway, but it had still been several months.
Yes.
It had been months before he was even back in WWE that he had wrestled that match. So nearly a year for both of those guys. The better part of a year for both of those guys. You've got Randy Orton, who's still full-time, but he's been around for 15 years.
Yep.
And you've got John Cena, who is part-time. And couldn't even be shown on TV until today.
Yep.
They announced him as part of the team, and then he didn't show up until today because he's busy. Yep. I get that. But then of those three guys, I guess I can appreciate that they saved Shane for last, but it didn't feel like they saved him for last.
No.
It felt like he was the last guy there. And then, if
it would have been down to 3-on-3 and we saw Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, and Triple H going up against Shane, Bobby Roode, and Shinsuke, I think it would have been a lot better.
Right, but see, and therein lies the problem, because that was never going to happen when you had John Cena and Randy Orton on that team.
I agree.
One of those new guys was going to be eliminated. John Cena should not have been on the team. Neither should have Triple H. They should have kept Jason Jordan on the team, because then you've got some good cannon fodder. Somebody to get eliminated early, and nobody really cares.
Yeah.
It'll pop the crowd, get intrigue going, but nobody's going to be brokenhearted about it. Unlike having, who was the first guy eliminated? Nakamura?
No, it was, it was Bobby Roode.
I thought Nakamura got eliminated before Bobby Roode.
It was either one. I don't remember.
It was one of those two, though. But I mean, the first three guys eliminated were Nakamura, Bobby Roode, and Samoa Joe.
Yes.
So, and then at least, Balor outlasted John Cena.
Yeah.
But
I just, the match, it had a lot going for it going into it.
And when it started, until the new guys started getting eliminated and you realized you were watching WWE circa 2002.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you literally here. Let's
say 2006.
What is the exact text you sent? I got it right here. Hold on. It is.
Let me poop and then we'll do this thing.
No. Where is it? Oh, good Lord. Are 4 of the final 5 really Shane, Orton, Triple H, and Angle?
Yep.
I mean, those were the exact text that you sent me.
Speaking of, you just reminded me of something. Speaking of texts that I sent you, what about when had Braun, gotta back up, Braun getting out of the calf crusher? Or Brock getting out of the calf crusher.
Getting out of the calf crusher?
By smashing AJ Styles' face into the mat 5 freaking times. Like he was trying to put him through it.
Yeah. Where is it?
Because I said something.
Oh, where is it?
I'm pretty sure I said Jesus.
Oh, no, I went, wow.
Fine.
I went, wow. And you went, wow is righty.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
Jesus was my reaction to that.
Oh, yeah, there it was. I was going, yeah, but still, you said, yeah, but still, holy crap. And then I went, holy shit. And you went, what? Jesus?
Yeah.
No,
Nobody cares about our text, so.
No, the one thing we can say about that match, and then we'll get back to the main event.
Brock brought his work boots.
Well, but we would not have had that kind of match if it was Brock Lesnar, Jinder Mahal.
No, we wouldn't have. And we wouldn't have wanted that kind of match. People would have wanted to see Brock Lesnar kill Jinder Mahal
and the Singh brothers. So I am happy that they did get the title off of AJ. Got the title on AJ off of Jinder.
Yeah.
And then, what I had mentioned to you, that the ticket sales in India have been horrible. So they canceled the second show. They're doing one large super show. And they've already announced the main event for that show in India on December 9th is going to be Triple H versus Jinder.
So AJ might hang on to the title.
I really think there's a good possibility of seeing AJ holding on to the title going into Clash of Champions.
Where or he will probably,
what I'm saying is he'll have the title going into the Clash of Champions. He will probably defend and retain the title against Jinder, and will probably hold the title going into WrestleMania.
I'm pretty certain that the match against Jinder Mahal is happening on Tuesday.
It might be.
That's what they were saying. But let's get back to the main event.
But yeah,
we'll save this stuff for for Wednesday's show.
Yes.
And,
I was highly disappointed in this match.
Yeah, I was too. Even the end, the end was just kind of confusing. Like, okay, I get that. I get the nobody's gonna attack my family but me, or I want to be the one to get the glory, or whatever. But then it made no sense that he put Shane on top of Kurt.
Well, exactly.
Except that they're building to the WrestleMania match between Triple H and Kurt.
Which they are, but there were other ways to do it. And, I'm still trying to figure out why they did not have Jason Jordan interfere in the match for any reason.
They set up for it.
They
when
did.
He did that interview with whomever, Charlie Caruso or whoever it was, that smirk that he gave the camera.
Yeah.
It was there. It was right there.
I mean, it would have been perfect. This is just me, but it would have been perfect if Triple H pedigreed Kurt Angle, went to go put Shane on top, and Jason Jordan comes running out and pulls Kurt Angle out of the ring.
Yeah.
And then you have Shane, Triple H turn on Shane, pedigree Shane, win the match.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that the finish of the match would have worked as well if Jordan got involved. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But then, it was very satisfying. Triple H, to me, he's always been one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And the look on Triple H's face when Braun had him in the corner, you've never seen him look like that. We've seen terror on Triple H's face before.
Yeah, but this was I am literally going to die right
now. When Mick Foley came out as Mankind and said, Mankind is a lot of things, but one thing he is not ready is ready to face Triple H in a street fight at Royal Rumble. But I'll introduce you to someone who is, and then he takes the mask off and introduces Cactus Jack, and Triple H lost it. Triple H knows what he's doing in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
NOSE knows what he is doing in the ring. And tonight, obviously, he's not the one making these calls. So
he's got the input.
He does. He's got influence. And I think that maybe he genuinely thinks that he's one of the guys that can help, that by doing that he can put Braun over, and he's not wrong. But maybe in that fashion it's not the best way to go about it. But Braun destroying Triple H at the end of the match was a good way to end the show.
Yes.
And so they knew that people wanted AJ to win, but he wasn't going to win. So if that's the last match, people are going to leave disappointed. Watching Triple H get decimated at the end of the show, not a bad way to send people home.
No, it's not.
So I understand the decision, even if I don't agree with it.
No, and you and I have said the same thing. I just think there was a better way at leading up to that moment.
Yes.
And the way they did it was not the way they should have done it.
The execution of the match left a lot to be desired.
Yes.
It's not that the match itself was bad. It's that the decisions that occurred in the match were bad.
Mm-hmm.
The who got eliminated when, who was left. The match itself was really, like, move-wise, was pretty good.
Yeah.
But you find, but if the sports entertainment aspect of it leaves a lot to be desired, you're going to find yourself not connecting with the match. You're going to find yourself paying more attention to texting your buddy on your phone than you are to the match.
Yeah.
Which is not good when you're about to get on a podcast and talk about the show.
That is true. One thing, so I just pulled it up. So, order of elimination, Shinsuke Nakamura was eliminated first, 11 minutes, 40 seconds into the match. Bobby Roode was second at 13 minutes. Samoa Joe was third at 18:30. John Cena was fourth at 21:55. Then Balor at 24, Orton at 26:40, Angle at 32:05, and then Shane at 33:20. Now, one thing I do like, though, about this match is I like the fact that there was more than one person at the end of the match.
Mm-hmm.
I have never been
It happens too often to have a sole survivor.
Yes. And I really like when, there is that one side ass whooping,
Mm-hmm.
Good match, but maybe 3 guys or 2 guys, but the whole sole survivor thing, it like you said, it happens way too much. So
it
this
fit
was
in the women's match.
Yes, it did in the women's because, it was a 2-on-1 at the end, but the right person won that match, just like you said, the reasons why, winning with the Oscar lock, that one I was okay with.
Yep. I would have been okay, honestly, with Asuka if she'd have been 3-1 or 4-1, and
I agree. Just because she is that strong,
I would have been okay with that. It would have been believable
if you would have swapped the 6 and the 7. If you would have had Carmella be eliminated 7th and Sasha be eliminated 6th.
Yep.
That would have been perfect, because then you would have had Asuka eliminate Carmella, Tamina, and Natty.
Yep. And Carmella, she could have gotten rid of very, very easily.
Very.
Mm-hmm. And you notice that, she's a submission machine. She used 3 specialized submissions in that match. She won with 2 of them.
Yes. I think the only thing on the women's match that really pissed me off was the fact that Becky got eliminated so quickly.
That didn't bother me too much. I like the idea of the captain getting eliminated, because then the team has to kind of scramble. It's good psychology. So let's go ahead and start wrapping up, because we're at about 90 minutes here, and it's a little longer than we wanted to go for this thing, but we did cover 2 shows. So
that is true.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give Survivor Series a B-. And I'm giving that grade based on the fact that the main event left a lot to be desired. The women's Survivor Series match was merely okay, and I wasn't crazy about the women's champion versus champion match.
Pretty much right there with you on that one. B-. The Shield match was good. The problem was, for the 2 to 3 really, really good matches on the card, Brock, Usos, Cesaro, and the Shield match, the women's match, Corbin, Miz, Charlotte and Alexa, and the main event, Team Raw, Team SmackDown, they left a lot to be desired.
Yes.
They could have been better. I mean, like I said, I thought the Charlotte-Alexa match was great when it came to the psychology. The in-ring work, not so much. If that match was more solid on the in-ring, I definitely would be giving this pay-per-view a little bit of a higher grade, but not by much. So that was the problem. There were 3 really good matches, but the 4 other ones, they really left a lot to be desired. So B- sounds about right.
Okay. So, an average, slightly above average show, we would definitely recommend watching it. Takeover, on the other hand, we both gave A's. So, absolutely, if you've got the WWE Network and you're not watching NXT, what is the matter with you? Because NXT is the best show that WWE puts on, and their takeovers consistently outperform the pay-per-views that they're paired up against.
The other thing I love about NXT, and I don't have the time because everything that's just going on personally with the wife working late night shifts, the kids being involved in sports, I don't get to watch NXT on a regular basis. But the beautiful thing about NXT is you don't have to enjoy their pay-per-views. No. You can go into those pay-per-views knowing absolutely nothing leading up to those matches, and you can still walk away going, oh my God, that was an incredible show.
Yep. And let's not undersell the fact that NXT is only a 1 hour show. Yes. So if you do feel the need to go back and get caught up on it, you can watch several episodes in a short period of time.
It's not like trying to get caught up on a Monday Night Raw that takes 3 hours.
Exactly. Even on Hulu, you're investing an hour and a half.
Well, exactly. You're watching a month's worth of NXT in one Raw episode, basically.
Yep.
So, but whether or not, you watch it or you don't, going into those pay-per-views, like I said, they do such a good job, and they've done that takeover after takeover. You don't have to enjoy those.
Nope, you sure don't. Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and call it for the night. Be sure to let us know what you think about this podcast. Hit us up on Twitter or Facebook, Instagram at PW Almanac. Don't forget to check out the website at ProWrestlingAlmanac.com. If you're interested in getting into our weekly trivia competition, you can shoot Mike an email at stumpthealmanac@gmail.com. And if you get any results of any shows that you go to, house shows, WWE, TNA, or what's it called now, Impact Wrestling, any shows you go to, indies or otherwise, you can shoot those to ProWrestlingAlmanac@gmail.com. So we'll be back again with the PWA on the PPV, probably not until the Royal Rumble, but you can always tune into our weekly podcast. We record that Wednesdays. It's usually out Thursday morning, early AM. So we'll be back here Wednesday, and we'll see you then when the bell rings.